So it seems like Houston's always been historically kind of a tougher place for you guys, whether it's the Heat or whatever else. But it seems like in the last couple of years you've figured out how to get results there. What do you think's been the key to that? And then how do you think you applied that in this last game?
Well, I think number one, trying to keep a clean sheet. That's been it gives you a chance to be in the game, regardless of how well you are playing. So, defending well as a team, not giving up any big real chances, and then in the past it's been set pieces. It's been guys us pushing forward with Chad. And other situations like that. But in this situation, we really only had Jordan up top, and we made a play. We made it happen, and we defended well.
How hot did it feel out there, and how do you kind of keep it together mentally when you're dealing with the elements like that?
Well, whenever the climate is like that, it's hot, it's humid. Your mind tends to go. Your legs as well, but your mind slows down, and that's it's on you to really focus on your touch, really focus on your next pass, on how many players are around you if you're able to turn. So it's really is how sharp you can be mentally, because physically it's demanding, but if you can save yourself a couple missed passes or being smart defensively, it'll help you long term.
With the adjustments that were made in the second half, considering some of the injuries that you have on that left side, could you see you guys doing that again in the future? Obviously it seemed to open up your play and get that goal.
If injuries happen, right? We've played that against San Jose, and we found success against Houston. If injuries happen, yeah, it's a possibility, certainly. We would like to have a true number 9, but in the end, if we were effective like that, we were keeping possession, we were flooding the midfield with Nico coming down as well as I am. We could possibly use it, but I don't foresee that, and hopefully we don't, because we have all our guys healthy.
What is missing? Like, what with Victor, being out injury, like what does he really bring to the team?
Well, Victor's a 1v1 specialist. He keeps you on your toes, ready to defend. Some right backs don't want to go up and attack because of that. So just the willingness to take chances and drive at players. And Brad is very effective because of Victor's play. And we have a little bit of that in Harry. But Harry looks for the pass. Victor will look for a little bit more dribbling, shooting. So they're a little bit different, but Victor is definitely a 1v1 specialist.
The team lost the away match against Kansas City. Does that add any extra motivation for this weekend?
Well, I think anytime we play Kansas City, it's going to be a battle. We understand that it's going to be them pressing, them just trying to do everything possible to get to win the game. So we understand that. We understand it's going to be a difficult one. So they're well coached. They have good engines in the midfield, but I don't think necessarily one game really dictates on how we feel about them. I think it's just overall, since we've been in the league, our games against their team has always been a tough one.
Saturday was the first time you started alongside Leyva in an MLS game. What did you make of his performance?
Well, Danny's exceptional, and if he keeps that attitude, if he keeps that willingness to learn, he's going to be a top midfielder for the U.S. national team. He's a very good. He has a very good engine. Is willing to learn. Very smart, very nice individual, and obviously he runs up and down the field and uses his engine to his advantage and gets into tackles, duels. He does all of the above, but I would love to just have him challenge himself and say, look, I want to be a starter on this team, and I'm going to push the guys. And with his performance, he's definitely done so. So I'm happy for him, and I hope he continues to do really good things.
Has he told you what to do on the field?
Danny's a quiet person, and that's something that I would love to see him, expand on. Be willing to yell at the older players or to take a little bit of a leadership role. And when you're a guy playing on this team, you have to be vocal. You have to be, the voice in the midfield, and that's something that I would love to see. And I think Danny will be willing to do that.
That's important at his position, though. To
Yeah,
be vocal. Yeah, right.
yeah. Communication is extremely important, whether you're playing center back, striker, right back, left back, but especially in the midfield because you can really see everything. Forwards don't necessarily see everything going on in the back if we're in a really good spot to press. So if Danny's willing or Danny, Jordy, myself, Gustav, willing to communicate a little bit more, and to just push the forwards, push the wingers to really press or put themselves in a good spot, right, left. It'll be extremely important for us going forward.
You mentioned in the past that Pineda and Alonso kind of took you under their wing and mentored you on this team. Is that something you try to pass on to the younger players coming through?
Yeah, I would certainly love to give some great advice, be somewhat of a role model for some of these kids. I mean, I saw a couple of guys earlier today in training that were fantastic. They're years ahead of me, and obviously I've been in their shoes at a little bit older age, but I'm happy to give them advice, answer any questions that they have, and just help them out on the field because sometimes it is difficult. Being the odd kid out, and hopefully they can continue to learn.
I'm guessing that since Danny was signed, that he's developed a little bit more or grown a little bit more. If that's true, how has he maybe changed from that day when signed to now?
Well, I think Danny has a lot more confidence than what he did, even in preseason with us. He's shining. He's not just sticking around to survive. He's thriving. He's doing everything in his power to get better, and that confidence means a lot because his willingness to showcase himself at an early age is very difficult. I experienced that, and it was very difficult for me to dribble at players or play forward, not be afraid to make a mistake. And Danny's doing all of those things, so it's great to see. And obviously, I have a lot of good things to say about him, but his job is to get better, and he'll do so.